Recently, Union Health Ministry has issued a national action plan to states and union territories on heat related illness. The ministry asked them to take effective steps to address the impact of heat in the summer season. We all well aware that heat waves are recorded in several parts of India. This topic comes under General Studies Paper 3 of UPSC Civil Service Examination Mains. Hence, in this video, we will try to understand what are the reasons for the heat waves. Before that, we will see what do you mean by heat waves and what are the measures required for heat waves. We are well aware that climate change is inevitable. According to a former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, action on climate change is urged. The more we delay, the more we will pay in lives and in money. So, heat waves are nothing but one of the negative effects of rise in temperatures or climate change. Let us first try to understand what do you mean by heat waves. As I told you, Union Ministry issued National Action Plan. So this you can understand, this action plan was given under National Program on Climate Change and Human Health in all states and union territories to take necessary steps against the rise in temperatures. According to Indian Meteorological Department IMD, heat waves are comes under any special circumstances. For example, a situation is considered as a heat wave when the maximum temperature of a station reaches at least 40% for plains, 30% hill areas. So if you see that normal maximum temperatures of a station is less than or equal to 40 degrees, then an increase in 5 degrees to 6 degrees from the normal temperature is again considered as a heat wave condition. Further, the increase in temperature, if it is 7 degrees from the normal temperature, it is also a heat wave condition. So on an average, I can tell you that if the temperature of a local meteorological station is more than 40 degrees, then if there is a rise in 4 degrees to 5 degrees than the normal temperature, it is a heat wave condition. Irrespective of the location, if the maximum temperature reaches more than 45 degrees, then we can call that particular situation as a heat wave. So IMD is very clear that if the temperature of a station or a location going beyond the 40 degrees or 5 to 6 degrees more than the 40 degrees, we can consider it is a heat wave condition. Again, I am stressing here, irrespective of the location, if the maximum temperature is more than 45 degrees, we can call it is a heat wave condition. Now, why heat wave condition is repeatedly occurring in India? If you recall, an incident happened in 2016 that in Rajasthan, the temperature suddenly rised and reached to 51 degrees Celsius. It was happened in Palodi of Rajasthan, is a place in which temperature reaches 51 degrees. Now, why such things are happening? Even last year in Andhra Pradesh, we recorded 48 degrees to 50 degrees in some places. Why such things are happening? If you see the data of UNEP, every year, even trying to beat the maximum temperatures of the previous years. In the recent COP meetings in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt also, ministers stressed this particular issue that heat waves are repeatedly affecting the different parts of the countries and even continents. Now, why such things are happening? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, observed that rising temperatures is due to continuous global emissions. These global emissions leading to create global warming, and this global warming affecting the environment and even allowing people to suffer with the rising temperatures. UNEP in one of its reports mentioned that urbanization, concretization, industrialization, these three are playing an important role in rising and repetition of heat waves. Next, Center for Science and Environment, an Indian think tank, in its observation stated that destruction of natural carbon sink or destruction of forest, such things is also one of the reason for the rise in heat waves. So what we can conclude that the anthropogenic factors are playing an important role in repeated heat waves. Well, after understanding the reasons for the heat waves, let us try to understand the effects of heat waves on us. So there are numerous effects. However, we will try to understand some of the effects of the heat waves on us. Number one, health issues. It is recorded by WHO that is prolonged exposure to heat waves may create heat related illness such as heat exhaustion, and it even leads to heat strokes. And apart from that, if you are more vulnerable to the heat waves, it will affect your growth and even development of the organs. It is noted by Lancet that the people, particularly children and women, who are affected by heat waves, are stunted in their growth. Further, coming to environmental issues, UNEP in its observations clearly stated that environment is severely affected, particularly it is leading to forest fires. In addition to that, water depletion is rising because of these repeated heat waves. Next, agricultural scientists are raising concerns about the impacts of heat waves. Last year, if you recall, India suddenly banned exports of wheat considering the fall in the production. This year also government of India is thinking to ban the wheat exports. So Punjab and Western UP, the places which are benefited by green revolution, in fact, are recorded that heat waves affecting the growth of the wheat. Further, it is also noted by IPCC, if the temperature is beyond 47 degrees, mammals will suffer in their survival as well as their production. Now, in addition to that, heat waves even rise pollution. So this is an interesting find out from the researchers that as long as heat waves are rising, people tries to use more air conditions or some cooling equipments. When they are using more and more cooling equipments, they will try to consume more power. If they are consuming more power, we are creating burden over the coal or thermal power plants. So that's the reason it is going to create the pollution and other things. Pollution particularly. Further, according to International Labour Organization 2019 estimates, India will lose around 5.8% of total labor hours by 2030 because of heat waves. So you can understand that heat waves is affecting every sector or every segment of our life. And the worst affected according to ILO is the workforce. India is going to suffer job loss and even economic loss because of these issues. So what we can do in these circumstances to prevent the future damages? The solutions are World Bank suggested to counter climate change issues, we need information, education, communication strategies. Social vaccine is important in changing the behavior, attitude of the people, and we should also involve some nudge theories to change the people's approach towards the heat waves. Further, we also need to focus on renewable energies. Here, solar energy is the lifeline for all the people. I want to quote here: International Solar Alliance is leveraging the research and development on solar issues so that it can benefit the India as well as the world. We should also add that UAE under I2U2 is also decided to develop hybrid solar battery storage system in India, Gandhinagar. So India should leverage these international partnerships. India should go on climate diplomacy on these renewable energy and technology transfer issues. Further, we should also remember that government should give incentives for this research and development of this section. Then Center for Science and Environment suggested nature-based solutions. One is afforestation. Here, Government of India is already launched a program called as Green India Mission under its National Action Plan Against Climate Change. So, apart from Government of India, we should also include states in providing more futuristic or result-oriented goals in this type. Then we should also have cooling elements, that is, local governments should create cooling elements like providing some kind of shelters, providing ORS, so on and so forth. So further, I would like to tell you, we should also focus on construction materials where they should also use cooling elements. Then the timings of the people, timings of the school, timings of the colleges and offices should be in concurrence with the change in temperatures. If you take examples from Gulf countries, they will follow the same thing in fact. So by this I can tell you that we can cope up with the climate change. I would like to tell you that emergency measures like Minister of Health and Family Welfare suggested water, ORS, seasonal fruits should be with the people. Further, in India should also think about resilient agriculture. The resilience agriculture is now at the time of need. For example, Punjab Agriculture University developed this PBW 803 in Ludhiana, where it can sustain the heat waves and it can give good results. Further, Pusa Ahilia H11634 is also developed to cope up with the heat waves. So we need such type of research and development. We also need to change the people's attitude towards the heat waves. We should cope up with that. We should manage with that. Finally, I would like to tell you, this is the high time India should prepare action plans based on the local needs. Take example from Ahmedabad, which prepared one of the earliest action plan to cope up with the heat waves. So this is a time where other local governments should be equipped with proper funds and staff and even training skills to cope up with these heat waves. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.